Hello friends, this is Lori Kilpatrick. Okay, so I've had this thing on my heart for a little while and I've been struggling with it, and I was doing laundry, got up early, got showered, the boys went to go run the truck back, and I was like, you know what? I need to be brave. I need to be brave and just say this. Albert Einstein is quoted as saying this phrase this quote that I really, really like, and it says that if you can't explain it to everyone, then you don't truly understand it. And I've been struggling with how to say this, and I was like, well, just act like you're talking to your kids. So here goes. I've been kind of a little frustrated, and I'm not good at my face not looking frustrated. Because I'll be like, how does this sound? And he's like, you can't look like that. And I was like what? And he goes, like, people are stupid. I'm like, oh, I don't think people are stupid. I think maybe sometimes people just don't understand. So here we go. So what is a virus? So a virus is a foreign thing that's just out there, okay? It's out there, it's out there, it's out there. Sometimes you get viruses and you don't even know it. So let's say that somebody sneezes and it lands on a surface and you touch it with your hand, okay? If you don't get it near a mucous membrane, or if there's no cuts in your hands or entrances into your fortress, if you think of your body like a fortress and your skin is like the walls of a castle, if there's no splits in your fortress, if there's no splits in your fortress, then the virus can't get in, okay? So even if you touch your face, it has to actually get into, like if you touch your face, you're okay. That might maybe not be so great, but it has to get past your mucous membranes, which is what your snot is for. Your hairs are covered in snot to catch viruses as they come in through the air. As I breathe in, my first filter system is right here. My first protection is my skin. My second protection for my nose, or I guess my first protection for my nose, is that I am breathing it through this mesh of mucus that catches and contains viruses, germs, dirt. It's stopping particles from getting into the system. That's what your nose does. So if you're being extra snotty, it's like getting rid of all of that extra stuff. Yay, body, way to go, protection. So it has to get in there. And then your immune system has to not notice it, not see it, not feel that it's there. And then it has to get into a cell and start replicating. So there's a lot of steps that has to happen for it to get there. So let's break them down, okay? First thing you can do is wash your hands. And in washing your hands, even if you have a virus, what soap does is it's an emulsifier, which is just a fancy word for saying that like it gets into things more easily. And what it does to viruses is it actually strips off its protective coat, okay? So it has this protection around it that helps it like get through things. Oh, anyway, I was kind of like, but don't want to be distracting. So your virus has, if it gets its protective coating out, it's weakened. So even if it lands here, it might not make it in, and it'll get like overwhelmed by the mucus that it never gets very far. So keeping your hands clean and washed is important. Now with soap, you need to be careful, because if your soap has detergents in it, like SLSs, which is just it's a industrial detergent, which is really, really harsh on your hands. So SLSs, SLESs, sulfonylurea anything along those lines, that is a detergent that's harsh on your hands. So you want to kind of avoid SLSs, especially if you're going to be using them a lot, because it's really hard on your hands. And if you have cracking hands, there is where it can get in. So you have your, well, then your body's also using energy trying to heal that where it's not going where it needs to. So then your protectors are down here anyway. So in fragrance, you need to be careful with fragrance, because fragrance is an endocrine disruptor, which that's a whole nother thing, but it kind of screws with your hormones. And when your hormones are screwed up, you really can't anything, because you're kind of, anyway. So you need to be careful about your soaps. So you don't want fragrance in your soap, and you don't want SLSs in your soaps, and then it's not as harsh on your skin. So your skin can do its job and protect, be the first line of defense like it was made to be. Okay, so we've protected our hands, we've made the viruses weakened. Hand sanitizer. Okay, hand sanitizer is in the extreme circumstances when you are exposed, but you are nowhere near soap and water. If you're near soap and water, go wash your hands. And again, with the, you put a dime size on and you keep rubbing just like you would when you wash your hands, and make sure that you get all over everything, do a thorough washing, where you get in between everything, until it's gone, until you don't feel it. And that's how it can work properly. So then you're fully coated. If you're using a hand sanitizer that is drying you out, I'm not exactly sure that much about the hand sanitizer. I just use Young Living's hand sanitizer because they take care of me with everything else. I haven't researched hand sanitizer because I trust them. So I just use their hand sanitizer. First of all, it smells delicious. It's like cinnamon and peppermint. It's like, and my hands are never dried out afterwards. And that is amazing. So I just use that. So we've got our hand sanitizer. Okay, so now we're getting it into our nose. So very first time I ever watched those people do those nose things where they get all of their nose hairs out, I'm like, what are they doing? They're purposefully stripping one of their defense mechanisms by making the inside of their noses smooth. So now there is no protection and no thing. It's like busting a hole into the wall for like no reason. I don't understand that. And I wonder sometimes too, if and when we get older, they get longer because our body just has a weaker defense. So they're like, make that one just a little bit stronger. Have it go out a little further so that the hairs can catch it a little further out. Anyway, so the other thing that's kind of a detriment to our nose doing its job fully this time of year, we're kind of coming out of it now, is that it's so dry. So making sure that you're properly hydrated personally and that your air is properly hydrated, especially while you're sleeping, is super important. So a humidifier is nice. And again, with the humidifier, you need to make sure that you keep it clean. Otherwise, you're just recycling air that shouldn't be there. Oh, speaking of air, make sure that you're cleaning out your filters. Your furnace filters need to be changed. And if you guys are around more than normal, then change your filter more than normal. We are homeschooling people that tend to be home like 90% of the time. So we change our air filter every 2 to 3 weeks, depending on if people are waking up snuffly. If people are waking up snuffly, we change the air filter. We'd like to go a month, but we can't, so we don't. And I don't know if it's just because we have a big old house that'll be 100 next year or what. Okay, so your virus gets in, or we stopped your virus, we've done everything we can up until here. Make sure that you're properly hydrated, I already said that. Then once the virus actually gets into your system, it has to get into a cell without being detected. Now, if you think of, like troopers walking through, protecting, if you are exhausted, or if you are stressed out, or if you're just emotionally, or your hormones are out of whack, or your body's out of balance, it's hard for your troops to be strong. Just like if you stay out all night, you can't be as aware the next day. You just can't. So if you've taxed your body and exhausted your body, then your troops just aren't as strong or as observant as they should be. So making sure you get enough sleep, drinking enough water, exercising for 30 minutes every day, and eating real food, all of that helps support and gives you a very strong army. Things like staying up late, eating late, because then you're using up all of your energy to digest that food when you should be repairing at night, because when you sleep, that's when you repair, that's when you heal. But if you eat right before you go to bed, then you're spending all of your energy digesting, and then you don't have the energy to repair. So there's that. So yes, real food. Oh yes, so processed sugars and all of your white foods that have no nutritional value, sugars, you can go look up real-time blood. So what they did, and I'm assuming you can still find it somewhere, they put a little camera in the bloodstream, and you should have like all of your little donuts, which is what your red blood cells, like floating around separately. But then when you put a processed sugar into your system, what happens is your red blood cells clump up and they'll stack. So they'll stack up. And what a red blood cell does is it has all this surface area that has the nutrients and the minerals, and they deliver it to the cells, and then they deliver it to the cells, and then they take on the waste product and go and send it to be filtered out. So if it doesn't have the surface area because it's stacked on top of each other, it's not moving around the cell food, and it's not taking away the cell waste as efficiently as well. My cat's crazy. Oh, you can see him. Anyway, so sugars, as in processed sugars. I'm not saying like get rid of all sweet things. I'm saying be careful about processed sugars. You got a good, better, best, of course, and you have to make sure that you know that you're okay with it. We do honey and maple syrup, and you know it's just a little bit more expensive, but you don't have to use as much, and I feel like it's sweeter. But also, when you get rid of the processed sugar, you're not lying to your taste buds as much, so then things that have processed sugar are almost sicky sweet, you know. So but that's another thing, like you got a good, better, best. You know, you got a good, better, best, and you have to know where you are and then know where you want to be and then take the steps to get there. Okay, so there's that. Okay, red blood cells stacking. Oh, okay, so then if your cells aren't getting the nutrition that they need, then they're going to be more sluggish and more easily, you know, they're just not going to be as efficient as they could be if they had the proper nutrients. Also, just as important as getting what you need is taking away what you don't need. So taking away the cellular waste is just as important. Just as important. Okay, so you've done all that, your body's super strong, you're good to go. Okay, now if those things are not so great and you're having like a weakened immune system, you're not moving around as much, you're eating late, you know, you're not drinking your water, you're not getting proper sleep, your body's just a little bit more sluggish and more easily, I can't think of the word, attacked, I guess. So your virus has gotten in and it's gotten into a cell. Well, once it gets into a cell, science words, but the gist of it is that it starts replicating, and it'll start replicating quickly. So as soon as your body realizes that it has a viral infection, it'll shoot up your temperature, because cellular regeneration happens quickly at your regular body temperature, but as soon as you raise your body temperature, your cells will reproduce more quickly. So a fever is a good thing because it's slowing down the virus. So it slows down the virus so that your body can encircle it and attack it and take it down. So fevers are good. And if we manually reduce the fever, we actually are allowing the virus to reproduce more quickly. Yeah, it's just that simple. So fevers are good. Now, there's a lot of arguments about what is too high for a fever and what is too low for a fever, but you're going to have to look that up and see what you're comfortable with. I would highly recommend that you find an immunologist, a genuine immunologist, and see what they have to say about fevers. Yeah, fevers are actually, I feel that fevers are a very good thing. It's your body's natural response, and like one of your greatest lines of defense against the things that are in your body. So fevers, yeah. So there you go. It takes a lot for a virus to actually get into your body, and there's lots of steps that we can take to support our body so that a virus can't overcome. So if you think of your immune system like an army and your virus like an enemy, if your army is stronger than your enemy, then it can fight it down. But if your enemy is stronger than your fighters, then it can beat them. So let's get our army super strong. And really quick, how do you do that? Get enough sleep so your body's properly rested. You get enough to drink so your body's properly hydrated. That also helps remove the waste. You exercise for 30 minutes every day. Sweating is so important, you know? Exercise for 30 minutes every day. I always say, like, if you're married, go be married, and then you'll have to exercise for love. So exercise for 30 minutes every day and eat real food, real food, real food. Because then you get into like your colon needs to be healthy, because a healthy colon helps not have the toxins, you know, and that requires good fiber, which is in like your greens, And then water, good fiber in water will help keep your colon clean, which will help keep the toxins out. Your kidneys and your liver are filters. See, I think I'm getting too much. Sorry. So my point here was, what is a virus? A virus is a foreign enemy of our body. And how do we fight it? We make sure that our army is strong. And then even if a virus gets in there, it can't. And even when a virus is in there, you can still make your army strong and your body will start fighting it. And then you just need to support your body and not cripple it or hobble it or cut it off at the knees. So I will watch this. Hopefully this was very clear. If you have questions, of course, I am not a doctor. I do not diagnose or treat, but I am super passionate about making sure that you understand the gift that you were given with this beautiful body. And in learning about how to take care of it, a lot of it's just stuff I've discovered along the way. It wasn't stuff that anybody had told me. I didn't know about viruses or about your immune system. I didn't understand about that. And a lot of times when people tell me, I'm like, why didn't somebody say that? That's not a difficult concept. This isn't a difficult concept, you know, like it's not a difficult concept. So why is this the first time that I'm hearing it? I've said that a lot. So if this is the first time that you're hearing it, don't worry, at least you've heard it. If you disagree with me, that's fine. Just be polite about it. And of course, you know, watch something else. So I love you. I believe that we're all put here for a purpose and that we're all here at the same time because we need each other. So if you have any wisdom, please share it. And thank you for being you. Thank you for striving to be the best you that you can be and for helping the people in your immediate area so that you can make your world the best that it can be. Even when we can't talk, we can still reach each other this way. So have a beautiful and blessed day. Thank you for being you. You're amazing at it. And yeah, have fun and make good choices.